everyone, this is Buffish, Jack here. This is a part 2 on the topic of steroids in sport. So if you haven't seen part 1, it's out on Buffish for you to go and check before you watch this. And with that, let's dive right in. So before, I was discussing different issues regarding steroids, mainly Hafthor Bjornsson admitting to taking them and Mark Henry's response, comparing it a little bit to powerlifting and the tested, untested areas of that sport. Today, I'd want to talk about my own opinion because it's changed over the years, I would definitely say. Some core beliefs are still there, but one or two things have altered over time, so let's discuss that. When I first started training, all those years ago, back in 2014, I didn't know much about steroids. I just knew that they were something I was never going to take. They were something which I didn't know the effects of, but I had been told enough from my parents that they were just a bad thing to do. So obviously, being younger back then, I didn't really do much research myself, so I was kind of like, right, I'm just going to believe you, never touch it. As I got older, I started to meet people who, some were of that belief, which is, don't touch them, don't do it. Others were a lot more lenient. Some even went as far to take steroids themselves. So what I've discovered over time is I've gone from believing that they are evil, these terrible, terrible things, you should never ever touch them, to I personally, as I said in part 1, I myself am not a user. I don't see myself ever using them. I like the fact that I can just change my body through diet and training and just enjoying the journey. But I understand why some people, i.e. let's say competitors who are trying to get into the IFBB, competitors who are trying to get in WRPF, the high ranks, some strongmen and women, I understand why they would take steroids. It's because of the fact that, for one, there is a very high chance there's a lot of people you're going to come up against who are taking steroids themselves. So you just want to be in that level playing field. But also because of the fact that there are times in which simply being on a very good diet and having a very good training regime just won't be enough. None of the modern bodybuilders have come out and said, I'm definitely taking. But if we go back to the 80s, if we look back at Arnold Schwarzenegger, this is a man who, he won 8 Mr. Olympias. He openly admitted that he took steroids in the 80s. When you look at Tom Platz, who was famous for his leg development, he had some of the best legs in bodybuilding. He openly said that himself and everyone he competed against used steroids. But they always hit home that it's the equivalent of taking a car to a car show. So say now, the example Tom Platz gave was you take a Volkswagen to a car show, wiping it down does not make it a Ferrari. Simply taking steroids doesn't make them the champion. They still had to put in the hard work. They just got to that next level because of it. And I understand that. It's one of those things where I understand and accept it, but I would never in my life do it myself. For one, my mother would kill me, but also because of the fact that I have no reason or desire to take them. Like, it's no secret on Buffish that I am constantly trying to lose weight, and I have been offered it in the past, steroids, I will admit, from my local gym, but I've never had the desire to take it because of the fact that that's not the route I want to go down, and I think that's the same for a lot of people. I do think some people can push it. You see that with the younger gentlemen in the gym, you could argue. From my experience at least, I've seen a lot of younger guys want to jump on cycles because they think they will look like bodybuilders, maybe for the beach body, or because they want to go on holiday. And ultimately, it's a massive shame when I see that, because of the fact that they haven't been educated as to the effects of steroids. They don't really know how much they're taking unless they've put the research in which case, I tip my hat to you, but still, that's damage you're doing to yourself. And ultimately, there's no reason for them to do it because they're 17. I was 17 at one point, and I really, really loved just going to the gym and training. So that was a very roundabout way of getting to. I personally don't take steroids. I don't want to take steroids, but I don't have a problem with people who do take steroids or want to take steroids, as long as you're not hurting or cheating someone out of something. So by that I mean, if you are not putting someone else in harm's way, either through health reasons, i.e. with the side effect of void rage to somebody, if you're not cheating someone, so entering competition knowing it's tested, jumping on a cycle and then being tested once that cycle is worn off, if that can happen, or ultimately doing it just for the sake of it and hurting, there's going to be a lot of self-harm, you could say, from taking steroids because of the fact that it has been proven that the use of steroids can lead to heart problems, liver failure. Look at Paul Grant. I mean, this is a man who, a very famous bodybuilder back in the 80s, he used steroids for so long, he had to have a liver transplant, and even after that, he went back on steroids and passed away, God bless his soul, in 2004. That part doesn't make sense to me. Knowing that you have caused harm to yourself and you still use it, I can't fathom it. But if it's a passion, I will never tell someone they can't follow their passion. I would just urge that if you really think this is the way that you can only achieve your goal, please put the research in, please speak to a doctor, please speak to people who have experienced it, gone through cycles. I would say be careful who you speak to, because some people will have an agenda, some people will try to push it on you. Speak to a wide variety, and once you've really learnt about what you could do to your body, the benefits and the negatives, if you still want to do it, then please be sensible and please be safe. So, that has been my talk on steroids. I really hope you have enjoyed part 1 and part 2. It's been something which I've wanted to speak about, but I never really knew how to get around to speak about it. If you do have any comments, questions, or if you have any views which may go against mine, by all means comment them below. I'd love to start a discussion on this area. But as always, this has been Buffish. I'm Jack. Thank you so much for listening. I'll speak to you again.